Mrparka here, and I'm here to review a movie that I actually was putting off as well. And not because it's bad or it looked bad, it's just that I didn't know. It's not really your typical horror movie. It was sent to me to review, and it was just strange. And it's Rosa and the Executioner of the Fiend. It's like Conor Oberst named this movie or something, long as hell. But they kind of make it look like this violent type deal on there. And to be honest, it's really not too violent. It's very strange actually in the way it is. I don't know what kind of camera they used. It looks kind of very indie, the camera and everything, but the film itself is not a bad film. I could see them playing this in school, like just to teach kids about how Cuba and America and all that kind of history between them and Fidel Castro and the dictators and how people have been robbed by it. And also it teaches about the Holocaust. Basically the plot is you got Rosa, who's this old Jewish woman about to be forced to move into some little like old folks home for the rest of her existence. I'm just going to go over here and stand. And then you got the Executioner, who is Amari. And he basically breaks in her house because there's a UN meeting happening across the street and he can get a perfect shot at Fidel Castro from here. He basically, and what happens is, at first she's screaming he's a Nazi, she's going to rape him, she's all crazy and goofy and annoying, but she's actually really funny at the same way. She's kind of like annoying, but she's not insane. You know, she's kind of stubborn and weird, kind of so lonely that she just never shuts up. Basically think your mom being really, really nice to your friend. And anyways, what happens is, what unfolds is he's telling her he wants to kill him, and basically they kind of form an unstable friendship. And what happens is they're talking and they open up, and you learn the past of Amari and why he wants to kill Fidel Castro, about the Cuban, all that sort of crisis and stuff, and them trying to get in the United States and being turned away, and his father dying and everything like that. And you kind of start to like the character. And the same thing with Rosa, as she explains how she lost her 8-year-old son in the Holocaust. And it gets really kind of sad, and they kind of bond. And at the very end, a happy endings pull through. Through all this crazy insanity, there actually is a twist throughout the movie, too, in the middle. And I don't want to really say it. Kind of not so much a twist, but a little kind of a surprise. But not as much happens in this movie. It's more of a character study and historical kind of experience to teach people what's going on with this. And I mean, it's not a horror movie, not anything like that. It is slow. It's all dialogue. I do enjoy a lot of dialogue films, but it's just not something I really expected. It was sent to me to review, and I'm not disappointed with it. I actually watched the whole thing. Unfortunately, there's embedded Spanish subtitles, which I kind of enjoyed because I took Spanish 1 and 2 in college, and I was kind of comparing what they were saying, and I was like, some of this is coming back to me. But then I'm never going to use it probably, but anyways, not a bad film if you're interested in Cuba, America, and even the Holocaust. It's Rosa and Executioner of the Fiend. It's kind of like an educational movie almost. Not a bad flick, no special features on this disc. Like I said, that picture, whoever used the camera is kind of weird. You can't help but like Rose after a while. She's annoying, but she's funny, and she's sitting there like, there's nothing more important than breakfast, and she's just some old Jewish lady. It has some funny things, and not a bad flick, but not necessarily a genre piece even, or maybe it could be considered a cult film. No horror, no violence, just basically a character study with some historical and educational facts. Thank you, and have a good one. Bye.
Some of us passed out in the heat. There was fear, confusion, utter desperation. Some jumped into the water. Many drowned. I saw a young man eaten by the sharks. The few who survived were rescued by the Cuban Coast Guard and returned to the ship.
But it says here that President Roosevelt was also involved in this episode.
You see, in 1939, the U.S. was at the beginning of the end of the horrible Depression. They feared that the Jews, just a few miles from Key West, will have an easy access to the U.S. mainland, worsen the unemployment crisis.
That's unbelievable. What happened to your family?
Some of the women were given the opportunity to disembark illegally and go underground. I was part of that group. I refused at first, but then everyone insisted for me to leave with them. We hugged so tightly. We knew from that moment on that our families were doomed. From the moment they brought us to shore, I knew that we would never see our loved ones again.
Tell me, what happened to your family?
They were sent back to Europe. One ship was sunk in the middle of the ocean. The other one was captured. They were sent to the death Nazi camps. Many, many years have passed, and still feels as if it were only yesterday.
But wait, there's more! Anyways, I figured 3 minutes, 27 seconds wasn't exactly enough for this movie, because it's almost 2 hours, but I just wanted to say the dialogue is very intriguing. You find yourself attached to the characters, and you actually, you know, a movie with this it's like Reservoir Dogs, 2 people in an apartment, you know, but it's worthy. I mean, the only other people that come in there are a couple of, like FBI agents and stuff like that, but, the music is weird. I believe at one point the music is using autotone. I don't understand the choice of music at all, really. It's kind of strange. And there's a lot of clips of Fidel Castro on television and stuff like that. And sort of like that. It does make a statement about, you know, that everyone's been persecuted and stuff like that. And it does get a little bit sad in there too. But it's kind of strange. Rosa is actually a pretty funny character, like I said before. I just don't know much more to say about the movie, but it's pretty much what it is. Likable characters, not much else in there, just 2 people talking about their lives, which is pretty much what almost any movie can be, you know, just, unless there's no violence and gore, you know, just in-depth character development. Thank you. Goodbye.